Welcome Diecast fans, I'm Tom Spanners Watson.
And I'm Frank the Guru Gibbs.
First up tonight, the DIRS driver call closes off this Sunday New Zealand time, so if you want to be in, you've only got a couple days left. Then check out Widowmaker Run. He was testing the new radio control Hot Wheels. These things look like a ton of fun. I'm really keen to see if anybody's actually going to try and race them. And then speaking of racing, we've got 3D Botmaker are doing a huge big road to the 2020 championship where he's going through and reviewing all of the previous drivers and how they got there. It's really entertaining. Go and check that out.
And then speaking of driver calls and upcoming races, remember head over to redlinederby.com, go to the racing tab, there's a full diary there, check it out and make sure to add your own ones into it.
Kicking into drag racing, food fights over at Rust Belt Racing again. Now, just on Rust Belt Racing, we put up a DSPN survey in the Chaos Canyon Facebook group, and apparently there's quite a strong following for a 15-minute roundup just of Rust Belt Racing each week. Cheeky buggers.
Then WeRaceDiecast had a double banger this week. So they had the Gunslinger Diecast Racing, where Gunslinger Diecast had sent in all of the cars for the tournament and some great races there. And then they also put on a monster truck drag race, and this particular one was crazy close. See this one out in front, slides up, almost stops, but just makes it across the line.
Then we go to DAE. So we haven't seen anything from DAE for a little while. In fact, there's a few tracks tonight that are popping up after having been away for a while. It's nice to see them back again.
GNR Vintage Diecast continued on with the Redline Rumble. If you haven't seen the previous races, make sure you check those out, but lots of good drag racing there.
Then it's over to Diecast RacerX, continuing on with the quarter mile championship. So he's down to the final 3 races this time. And these races are super tight, as you'd expect in a final race. You know, these are the top drivers now racing for that champion spot.
Then Rear Pill Racing did the Q Case race. So this was a straight up rip and roll, and there was some beautiful cars in this. We've got quite a few of them, but I was really interested to see this Mustang versus the Monte Carlo. Very tight race.
Then Wallside Diecast Racing just had some spectacular races. These guys here handled the death drop just absolutely beautifully. It's something you don't often see on that track, with both drivers finishing really clean. Then when they switched lanes, check this out. So the green car had a massive lead. The other guy storms through and just gets punted off the track right at the last second. It was such a dirty move, but man, that was entertaining. He must have thought he had it in the bag, and then boom, gets nailed, thrown off the track.
Now another track we haven't seen for a while is Red Crash Speedway. So this was cool to see. He was doing another big monster truck race. So there's been a few of those just recently, which is quite cool to see. The link to his channel will be in the description if you want to check it out.
Then Simpson Diecast Racing had a 20-pack racing tournament. So again, a rip and roll, straight racing. Great to see, lots of fun and entertainment.
And then we finish off with Main Street Races in his Matchbox versus Hot Wheels racing the Corvette. And we know that this Hot Wheels Corvette can be fast. Well, it certainly is fast on the Canyon, but man, that Matchbox Corvette was flying. It's great to see.
Now into the tournaments. We start with the 3D inspired track. So it was a muscle car tournament, and this Mustang flew out to the front. But then look at this, it comes down to this last corner and just completely bails, holds everybody up.
And Top Driver, so another track that we highlighted the other week, they now run English subtitles, and I just love this track. It's so beautiful, and they have some really great tight racing, which is awesome to watch.
Then Sonora Diecast had their curve track again, so this is the straight down to the single curve. And as always, there's lots of carnage on this track and some severe blocking going on this time around, but this car that gets out in front has a very clean run, nicely through that curve, one of the nicest lines you can take through that particular high bank sizzler track. But then check this out, he comes down to the finish line where of course Batman and Robin are waiting, and he absolutely splits them perfectly. They don't even wobble. It was just incredible. I have no idea how he managed to avoid them like that.
Then Roadrunner Raceway. So this is one that we've highlighted in Trax by previously. So he was into his NFL tournament. It's a big track with a huge tournament. And I just love this. That blue car totally nails that yellow car, flips him up into the wall and turns him over. It's one way to win a race.
Then Transport Diecast Racing had the Miatas at the crest. So it's getting really interesting now, and we loved this particular race. I mean, this track is a monster, and we're really keen to see how all the cars kick off in the DIRS on this track. It's gonna be amazing, but check this out. This dude, well out in front, loses it right at the end. The other guy's catching up, nails him, and look how close that is going across the finish line. It's insane. You go through it frame by frame, and it's so hard to tell who wins, even on that angle. So he goes back to the side-on cam, and even that, it's almost impossible. But man, there was some fun racing. If you haven't seen it, please go and check it out. It's a brilliant series.
Then Chris over at Tune Trax had his double curve finale to season 3, and this race here was an absolute perler, just right down to the line. It was great. And he's now taking driver sign-ups for his monster truck tournament coming up.
And Amigos Diecast Racing, of course, we've loved this track, love the new layout, and some brilliant racing here. This RX-7 gets a clean run on everybody else, storms away. You think, oh, they've got it. But no, they nail the side of the track and go over. It was like, dude, you had it in the bag. Everybody else was held up. And then this one here, another driver out in front, loses control and gets overtaken in that last curve with a beautiful drive by that yellow car. It was absolutely brilliant.
Now another track we haven't seen anything from for a while is Na Tabua, and it was great to see these guys racing again. It's this short double curve track, but straight up muscle car racing, great to watch.
Then over to the Monster Meal Ticket Raceway, and this huge track is always full of excitement with all of these cars racing at once. It's amazing how much distance they get between the different cars. I love that Audi at the back there. I mean, unfortunately it's running slow, but I'm pretty sure that's one of the ones with the real riders on it, so you'd have to say it's actually not doing too bad.
And then Checkered Flag Contention did a ladder trucks versus ambulances, so basically fire versus ambulance. And man, these guys do some really fun races. It's a short track, but there's tons of carnage, tons of excitement. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Then it was time for the ILC Stock Car Tournament. As always, Chapman Films bringing some chaos to it. I was really amazed that there wasn't more carnage through here. It was quite incredible considering that many cars on a short track and the amount of spinning that was happening. They actually all managed to cross the line quite reasonably.
Then we head over to another of our new favourite tracks, and this is Bay City, and I love that fog. That was a brilliant touch, guys. Very nice work.
Yeah, that was really cool. And I mean, the racing on this track, this was a whole bunch of grudge matches, one after the other. And they're putting them on Facebook first and then bring them over to the YouTube channel. But that overtake there by Josh Poffler and the blue Corvette, I think it is, just absolutely stunning how he managed to slip around there.
Yeah, it was definitely a skill bit of driving. Then Nine's Diecast continued on with his 9-pack tournament. Lots of good racing, and here again is another driver who thought they had it in the bag, well out in front, and then just lost it right at the end, gets overtaken down that final straight. And that was the Midnight Otto in the background on his side. That's a pretty common place for it to be, certainly at the Canyon. He always seems to roll over.
Then Hawkeye Hollow Diecast put a Lamborghini up against the Ford Lightning, and that Lightning is lightning. It just raced off ahead of the Lambo. I couldn't believe it. I was definitely expecting the Lambo to take that out.
Then Poverty Hollow Raceway had more of his Vintage Castings Championship. So this is the 1980s to 1989 castings. And there was some really close races there as well. That white car out in front slowed right down. Luckily for him, got a nudge from the Corvette, pushed him ahead.
Now into street racing was something a bit different for the Outlaws this week, and there was mass carnage. So there was a theft of a car from the Outlaws. They took it for a joyride and absolutely trashed it. If you want to see what happens, make sure you check out the video Canyon Outlaws from this week. It's on our channel.
Now, we absolutely love Flat Rabbit, and they just took it up another notch again this week. racing micro machines. So they built a new scale version of their new West Rock track with some changes, and it was just brilliant. And we love this particular race here. Look at that. He comes off the track but doesn't actually touch the ground, then slides back in and takes the win. It was just fantastic.
And Hot Car Track has been flat out recently just busting out the new Valley of Speed hot rods races. So this is 4 at a time, rotating around, but he is putting out a race every single day. So it's a monster amount of work. I don't know how he's doing it, but it's a fantastic series. You definitely want to go over and check that one out. Hot Car Track, a lot of fun.
Now into special events, we kick off with the rally at the Canyon, and there's a couple of rallies this week, but here we had James Kirk in the red Ford Focus versus Grandma, and Grandma with just the most superb drive there, slipping right around him, and then this one with Lily the dog rolling over, and Rob Allen pulling not only a beautiful full rollover manoeuvre, but look at this, he comes down into Kahuna Corner, and this is a real rider car, that Lancia, and he just times his run perfectly, slips right around him, takes it down to the finish for a win. It was beautiful to watch.
Time for more rally excitement, this time over at RTR Rally Challenge, which was very cool. And this race here, Guru manages to pick it up from 3rd place to slip into 2nd, but not only that, takes a big air bonus in reverse.
Yeah, mate, you know I don't like to do things normally. I like to make it a little bit special.
Well, it's a great series to watch, and there is a ton more racing to come. So make sure you head over to RTR Diecast Racing League and check out the rally tournament. Mike has made all of these customs, and they are absolutely superb.
Then Live Young Diecast, another member of the DIRS tracks for next year, had his final of the race to the Batman Cave, and we like this one, where Michael Keaton in the old school Batmobile here comes around from the outside and just cuts off that beast of a Batmobile and takes it home.
Now, Big Poppy Racing, he mentioned in his video that he's tested positive for COVID and his voice is knackered. So Big Poppy, if you're watching, hope you're okay, mate. Hope you come right. Stay safe. But make sure you go and check out the relay. It is a monster of a race.
Frank's Garage tonight features Beaverworks. A couple of weeks back, he did what he called a Real Racers modification. So that was putting an epoxy onto the Real Rider tyres. And here he's just testing a standard 8 crate to set a baseline time. And then he tested his Real Racers versus the Real Riders. And it was really interesting. It made a huge difference. The Real Rider cars wouldn't even make it down his track. But look at this. This is one of his Real Racers. So this is the rubber tyre with the epoxy over it. If you haven't seen the video, go over to Beaverworks channel and check it out. It's really interesting.
Now, Track Spy. Talking of rally tracks, DRC have updated their rally track and it looks phenomenal. I'm really looking forward to this series kicking off, and the updates to the track are amazing. He's put in a huge big drop right at the end over the finish line. So they go down and do a big jump over the broken bridge here, you see it, to the finish. It looks like it is going to be absolute fun and just beautiful work on that theming.
Now, stunt of the week is the destruction of Kit KM's Eldorado di Città from the Outlaws. We literally blew that thing up. They trashed it in the joyride, and then we set that beast on fire, and it was amazing. Absolutely loved doing it, and thanks very much to Kit for letting us do that to Eldorado. We know you put in a lot of work, mate.
Well, that's it for another week. Thanks very much for watching. Quick reminder that the DIRS closes this weekend, so that's Sunday New Zealand time, which will be approximately Saturday US time. Once that driver call is closed, that's it, I'm sorry. We are well over our number of drivers, so everybody's going to have to qualify just to make it into the tournament, but we are really looking forward to that one kicking off next year. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Tom Spanners Watson. He's Frank the Guru Gibbs. We'll see you next time.